If there's any absolute in this world, it's that garbage opinions will always make their way to you. Regardless of how you feel about the topic itself, there are objectively bad critics. I want to give this context real quick. I think people need to reevaluate when they use the term subjective in arguments because it's a bad way of disarming them. When I just said that they're objectively bad critics, yeah, that's my subjective opinion versus, I guess, my objective opinion, which to some degree, isn't that what you're here for anyway? Even if you think I'm wrong, I think that framing this in a way with objectivity is easier to stand on than saying, I think there are objectively bad critics, or critics can be awful at their execution, because both of them should be obvious by the title, including it being my opinion. Don't agree, argue with me, just healthily. Thank you. Either way, claiming objectivity is fine, because no one realistically should follow one speaker's opinion anyway. You should have your own opinion first, and then, if you respect someone enough, have them second, and then maybe, order it from there. But completely sidelining from that, here are my personal guidelines for a quality critic. This whole video idea was based on a critique of Cosmonaut Variety Hour's JoJo video. The video is 40 minutes long, yet it consists of jokes going on for so long, I didn't even get halfway through because I was not fucking with it. But just know, the intentions are understood, so this would actually technically get a mark on the checklist, but intentions aren't solely on video title and description, if even description. It includes subtext. One clear form of subtext in this video is his denial of Cosmonaut as a YouTube critic, outside of the JoJo video itself, which is what I'd say is the gray area of clear intentions. I don't think it takes away from the initial argument presented, so it's not in the black, but I also think it adds an aspect of overarching cynicism to his tone, specifically how he expresses these lines.
There's a lot of things that you can criticize Cosmonaut Variety Hour for. There are things that legit make me question if he knows what he's talking about in his videos.
These two are the ones that specifically hit the nail on the head for me. Even if that's all he says regarding this aspect of Cosmonaut, framing it this early in the video is what matters the most. If he really only cared somewhat about this, he would put it in the middle when people don't really care as much, or it would kind of get people to continue watching the video, but this is an early framing. If someone had just seen his JoJo video and decided to critique it, it would be different to this guy, who clearly had issues with his channel for a long period of time. All this being said, he did explicitly say this in the video, so what am I getting at? This is what made the critique less valuable to me. I did not click on this video initially with the disarming of Cosmonaut's style of content. I came to see arguments against why his JoJo video was poorly made. I love JoJo's, and I honestly didn't have a problem with Cosmonaut's video, though I do agree he got some things wrong in just verbalizing how characters were, but I'm personally a guy who kind of sees things in a passive light, so if someone says something wrong, but it's not too wrong for me to point it out, I gotta just let it go, and plus I'm one YouTube comment in a sea of thousands. Don't think I'm gonna be the one to reach to him. But even if I was compelled to make a video response, with a title like this, the title can branch off to many different interpretations, like a super fan of the series analyzing the comments that he makes about certain characters and explaining how incredibly off they are, or how the structure of the video is presented leads him nowhere, and thus the video is moot. But what we have here is someone clearly bothered by Marcus to a strong degree. There is fun to the ambiguity in where a video could go, such as seeing a title like a certain lengthy video I'll be talking about later, or, well, this video. Hearing about grievances with a specific video you may have never heard of and using that to frame bad criticism is an interesting choice, I could have just talked about it in an objective angle and maybe used news articles versus the actual YouTube articles, especially not something as kind of weirdly picky like a JoJo video, but it's particularly the one that made me upset because I think most cases I don't really feel bad criticism immediately. What I'm doing in this video, I don't think it has any dissectable or lingering subtext presented like what's happening in the video I'm talking about. I don't have any real dislike of the guy because I really only saw this video. Maybe his other content's better, but there's all sorts of content. I know there's another channel that people had a lot of issues with, Lily Orchard, which I don't really know the details behind that. I think it's Michelle and Lily Orchard now, but but I know that they did a video series on either Korra, yeah, I think it was Korra, not the original, but also Steven Universe, where some people were commenting that certain things were wrong, or elsewhere I saw that people had disagreements with it. So, and I watched those videos, and I mean, there was just a time where I just put on video essays in the background, so honestly, maybe I just missed it. But the critiques in that one, I didn't really know, but I also hadn't watched Korra yet, which I'll get to what happens in that kind of situation. But like with all analysis, I could be wholly wrong about my assessment of even this guy's subtext. I did only say I watched 5 minutes of it after all. But the point is, there are ways to dissuade from that sort of interpretation, and I sometimes recommend it for the sake of clarity. Now, with the context I've provided about this video, I can say with pride that this is accomplished with zero problems. The chapters, the 5 minutes I was actually able to sit through, it was clear what direction the video was going in. So this is where I'll be diverting from that a bit, but I don't think video essayists generally have an issue with this. If a video is made, most people understand that they'll need to back it up, even if their information is incorrect or poorly structured. Though, as I've learned, experience with the topic can break a video on a personal level. It would break it in a very specific way, and my own example of this is HBomberGuy's Dark Souls 2 video. When I watched it prior to playing the game, I had a perspective on a game that I had zero context for, and thus agreed blindly because it sounded good. Whatever he was saying, I just thought it was okay. And because of how other people kind of in the comments were either was talking about how funny it is, that the critiques, or this is the edgiest video he has, and he talks about politics, or all sorts of other stuff, I was like, alright, so, you know, I guess it can't be that wrong, right? So it was intriguing to me. It was thorough and competent, and it was the catalyst for my subscription to his channel, when I still have to this day. But this is going to be a weird part of the video, but I disagreed with it upon beating Dark Souls 2 and rewatching it. Now, I'll say, this is the weird part, I don't exactly remember what I disagreed with about it. It's an hour-long video, and I'll be honest, I can clearly tell I don't want to rewatch it because my mind keeps putting off rewatching it. Maybe because I've played the game, and I guess I'm not really interested in a defense of a game that I personally appreciate and love. But sometimes a thorough video can feel accurate but come out to feeling wrong for a variety of reasons. I'll either verbalize now as my future self, or either, well, I've now decided I'm just going to leave it up to memory. This essay is broken for me. I still enjoy his videos and think his writing has improved significantly from, yeah, that's 4 years ago, ain't it? Yeah, I can't imagine it's gotten any worse. But it's something I keep in mind, because thoroughness is important, because you're far more likely to persuade ignorant viewers into agreeing with you. But side note to all that, did get me to play Dark Souls 2, which I may have not done if I just listened to the hate. So take that for what it's worth, right? At this point, I'm going to start sounding like your professors and teachers with these headlines, but I argue it doesn't have to be widely agreed upon support. This is where I make that distinction. Validity of supporting arguments is something the writer has to prove, or the audience who has some knowledge on the topic will correct them anyway. Returning to that Dark Souls 2 video, I felt the support didn't work for me anymore after experiencing the game myself. I really do love Dark Souls 2. I literally have a whole, what came out to be 45-minute video essay on it, which if I were to try to release it, I would definitely want to do some revisions to it. For the sake of not having a divisive video, though, you just need to prove your stance to your audience with as few holds as possible. I'm not a stickler for 100% accuracy anyway. I just want a clear, strong effort that was put into it, and I think 85% accuracy should be the gold standard, because other 15% inaccuracy can provide interesting arguments. Take Jacob Geller's Dark Souls 3 video. Dark Souls 3 is thinking about ending things. He explicitly says, I don't study the game's lore, or really the series lore, but goes through explaining parts of Dark Souls 3 in a way that the lore itself couldn't have gripped me on. Sometimes it's just nice to take it into your own hands, which the Souls lore definitely allows for. I think so much of what he does with that video works so much on the basis that there's a chance that some aspects of it could be definitively wrong, or maybe similar in theme, but not, like, factually. And that's why I appreciate about it so much. It's one of my favorite videos on the platform, and I think I've sent him a Twitter message thanking him for it, so if I ever get anywhere with his channel, hope he sees this. If your topic is on something requiring or allowing a high level of negativity, then it's okay to present it because it's either expected or contextual negative energy. But if it's not that fucking deep, dude, don't comment on someone's appearance or personality. Outside of it being cruel and off topic, nobody cares. Unless their personality is somehow part of... Did I write it twice? No. Unless their personality is somehow a supporting argument to a piece, keep it to the content at hand. Everything before now is what I feel should be the values of all essayists, at least to some degree. But these next few things are things that I personally get turned on and off by. So I'm just going to run through a couple of cool videos. JXC made a 5-hour-long video on Doctor Who. CJ the X made a video of Jeff Bezos versus Bo Burnham for 2.5 hours. Racevic, at the time of the script's revision, made an 1.5-hour-long video about Metroid Exodus. Wait. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick explanation of that line. I wrote this essentially an hour after it came out. Some could say that these times for these videos are excessively long, but given the content at hand, there's at least an argument to why it's that long. Especially that Racevic video, man. If you haven't even started that video, watch it for a good 2 to 5 minutes, then you'll understand. Wonderful guy. I haven't even finished the video yet. I'm excited to get to it. Maybe I'll even do it after this video. Outside the man hours and editing, the desire to cover the content as a whole as possible is there. And if you're talking about CJ's video, that's another one where you gotta watch it yourself to understand the runtime. The others, you may have a fair guess to what it's about, but you are not gonna be ready for that one. Same thing with the Metroid Exodus video. And I sure hope the JXC video is just about Doctor Who, maybe about some of its deeper themes, but to reiterate, if you're responding to someone's video that is 1/10 of your total runtime, I mean a content creator, not a piece of content itself. There's so much about art itself, but if you're responding to a critique, or I guess a defense, with your own defense, or critique, maybe just a little bit, you might be overdoing it a little bit. Even if you feel like you get X amount to say, conciseness on the internet I personally appreciate. But there's a gray area to this once again, because I watch a lot of podcasts, specifically Trash Taste, which is debatably the realm of stretching things out. I don't watch a Joe Rogan, for example, but I've understood that a lot of podcasts really kind of pull things for a while, intentional or not. But in terms of essays, you are writing it. I appreciate my time being valued. That's why my Dark Souls 3 video is pretty short. And yeah, I know I have a lot of self-referential stuff in here, but it's because as much as I'm writing this video for you, I'm writing it for me, to remind myself. I love Dark Souls 3 and can do a whole stream long. If I just decided to talk about it on a stream and then someone cut that up and then posted that, would be a lot better if people just wanted to know specifically what I loved about it, and even redo that video to be far longer, which maybe I'll do that someday. But I really only want to talk about the content to be exactly what I said in that video. I know there's a ton that I can say, but I'd rather something be more consumable for a video that desires to inspire a playthrough after watching it. Also, wow, why did I write that like that? That's a part of my writing philosophy and experience. I just recommend having a writer's philosophy that you can earnestly defend at a moment's notice. People will review bomb whatever and made bad takes about whoever, so I'm not saying read every comment in Analytic. But if you feel you did not execute your video as well as you could have, see what the comments would have to say to encourage better future videos. Obviously, I'm speaking with optimism, as sure, I have this many subscribers right now. I am essentially making videos for myself and friends. Anyone who clicks on my videos or who had subscribed to me off a meme video that I'm still pretty proud of, but perfectly aware it's not real content. I can't wait for the day I surpass that video, if at least I get that across in my challenge. It's what I plan to do for my videos, even if it's all hating on me. I know it's certain flaws I left in my last 2 major uploads because this was mainly a test to get me back into the rhythm of writing. But I do care about how it's received, and if the content of my writing is wrong, I'd love to hear about that too. I don't think being in a bubble of people agreeing on one side of a fence is healthy for any growing writer, in any medium. A lot of people try to argue towards being right, that you have to be factually accurate, you have to be factually right. But I don't think that's what, at least in part, what makes a bad critic. I think you just need to be honest about your feelings and opinion on the topic, and honest with your writing. I think if you have an interesting take built on a misunderstanding, I still think that new knowledge is interesting and worth having in the space. I did not write my video on Metroid Dread because I think about everything in it, it's spot on exactly how the world should see it. I just wanted to validate my own viewpoint by sharing it and hoping someone will talk about it with me. And someone in the comments did. I mean, it's just one guy, but I appreciated that, and I responded, and look, I think the whole reason I wanted to talk about a bad critique, since I did say it come from that one video, is because I do think that, well, in a way, I'm not trying to police criticism and how people should go about it. I do think that there should be more of a distinction between when it's entertainment and when it's criticism, which I think someone like the Needle Drop, borderlines pretty well on both fronts. But I think there's a lot of other people. I'm just not trying to make a list. I just think that it's worthwhile to really look at your method and look at your audience and think about, how am I executing this? Do people care? Am I being a little too rude to the person I'm commenting these things about? And to be clear, I think anyone should thrash any sort of content in terms of like video game or story. Because as long as you're not threatening the person, you're like, yeah, this story sucks. Because I think that's important, as long as you explain why. And I think that, at least in that video, I think he was really, really going at Marcus. I don't think it's like in a way that he would care about. I just think it was a way that made me uncomfortable, because I was like, this is a lot for a video that I really was just curious about to see why his JoJo video was wrong. And also, I think it was like 2.5 times the length of it, if I remember how long Marcus's JoJo video was. I myself may even become a bad critic, or I might already be one. I'm sure about these things that I'll break, or people that you respect have broken from time to time, and that's all okay. The thing that I really want from a good critic, because I think a list of good critics even include people like Donkey. Well, actually, I specifically say Donkey, because I would continue the list, but you know what? Donkey's the important one, because he is clearly joking, but he helps me remember that no critique really matters if you don't want to care about it. If someone says your favorite video game or movie isn't good and you love that thing, and you can even defend it, then I think that is all that matters. I think people should always have a defense for the things they like. Not because they have to, but because I think it always presents a better argument. Because if you just have someone say, I like this, and if you don't say why, they'll be like, I don't like this because this, and this. And you could even say, well, yeah, I agree with everything you said, but I think you're wrong. It's not really a compelling argument. I like to hear both sides kind of argue over, not necessarily factoids, but things that people could go to one side or the other about. And I think a bad critic either makes that more difficult, or simply put, makes the actual argument not worth listening to. Even in this video, there's things that I probably have talked about or even tangented about that may have not been worth listening to the rest of it for. Even now, video run times continue to decline, and if you're even still here right now, I appreciate it. I thank you. I want to be the best critic I can be. And there's little things like me stuttering right there and missaying things, because sometimes after enough takes, I just lose my sense of clarity and being sure. But I don't think that makes you a bad critic. I think it's just about caring about getting your message across and paving your own way so people can respect you and understand you. And that's how you become a respected critic, is you have such a back catalog of things that make it trustable that your one weird opinion is consistent, or at least not rude. You kind of build that trust with an audience that, oh, okay, if he doesn't like this thing and I like it, then at least I know he's not being rude about it. Or maybe that's what you might like about some other creators. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm only 3 videos deep of new content at this point. So I think what really sucks about the bad critics on YouTube is just they can really dilute the art of critiques and the art of the form of critiquing things. Personally, I want to be a creator, but I need to understand a good and bad critic, because one day it might be my content I'm worried about.